Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Karen. You just recently signed an MOU with for the Green Initiative. Can you give like a few pointers before we start for the main topic on what it is and how important it is for the Uzbekistan financing?
Yeah, and good morning, Faizan. Thank you for inviting us. Yeah, sure. We signed the agreement with the Astana Financial Center, Center for Green Finance. It's definitely important initiative and the step because they probably have a much better expertise in the region about structuring, certifying, and issuing the green products, uh, green bonds, Sharia compliant mechanisms. So we hope that we will be able to bring this expertise and knowledge to Uzbekistan and maybe do some joint transactions with them by helping Uzbek companies to attract financing on a good terms. Because they have experience of doing this in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, and hopefully Uzbekistan will be next.
That's good. The presidential decree number 291 was released in September. And according to that, it will start implementing from 2024 Q2 onwards, I believe. If that's the scenario, is there a phase system that has already been placed or implemented, or there is some sort of like an idea of how they are going to start bringing the degree in place until 2024?
Oh, definitely. So the actual decree is in force since the publication, and I know that huge work started at the both levels. So the Ministry of Finance supposed to transfer all the authorities to the new regulator, National Agency for Prospective Projects. So the roadmap is very wide. It's not just about the regulation. It's happily include the significant part which we was waiting for many years. It's a roadmap to connect Uzbekistan to international markets. Uh, Everyone saying about the bringing Clearstream to Uzbekistan. So this is the final goal, but there is a huge work and a lot of changes in a way to this goal. So the decree have all the stages, all these measures that supposed to be done indicated, and uh, after many years of talking, we now have at least the good document on which we could rely, and we could expect some real changes in the legislation, which was the main obstacle for this process for many years.
So your main expertise are definitely in terms of stock exchange and in that finance investment area, correct?
Sure. Yeah, we mostly do the local brokerage, securities brokerage, and private debt and equity raisings. So for us, it's a an opportunity to help our clients, both local companies and international clients, to simplify the investment process. Most of our big clients, like mutual funds, big international investors, they unfortunately cannot invest so far in Uzbekistan. Even they like the companies, even they don't, even they like economy in here, some macro numbers. They just simply cannot do it technically according to their mandates, according to their compliance processes. It's sad because the interest is there for Uzbekistan. So we just need to help them to open these gates and provide the all needed infrastructure.
Perfect. So in terms of stock exchange, how do you think that this degree is actually going to affect it? Is it going to be positive? And also, how immediate do we see the impact coming in?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, definitely it's positive. How long it will take to implement all these things is a question to the competent team in a stock exchange, in a central securities depository, in a central bank, in a regulator, in the Ministry of Finance. So these gentlemen will have a huge work to done within next 1.5 years probably. So if it will be done properly and in term, by the second quarter of 2025, we will have connection to international clearing, to international custodies, and it will help a lot of these investors who previously didn't have chances to invest to start investing money in Uzbekistan. It will give some additional demand for the securities, and demand means the growth of the prices, growth of the supply. So local companies will see the real opportunity to raise the money from this foreign institutions because liquidity on the local market is very small, and the main question and the main problem for local companies is that we as brokers or investment banks, we cannot guarantee or cannot properly uh, assume what will be the size and what will be the pricing of the borrowings, of the equity placement, because there is not much of the deals, there is not much of the liquidity, there is not much of the demand on the market in terms of the size. Uh, so with these new investors, we probably will be able to say them, hey guys, we could raise this amount of $1 million in just a few minutes for you if you will do the proper pricing.
So, how I understand is that a lot of more assets and a lot of securities are going to be under the central bank now. And is there any other financial assets which we are looking at coming under the central bank? And if so, are there any stakeholders which are actually not agreeable to this, or maybe the process of it? Is there some sort of
Mhm.
hesitation?
No, that not we cannot say that some asset classes or securities types will be under the central bank. Central bank will consolidate the clearance and execution system. So we will have new bodies, so the central counterparty agent, so it's a national clearing house. It's simplify the process, is provide additional guarantees, and it's one of the requirements of the international investors. They, despite they could love me personally and trust to me, their procedures cannot allow them to allocate some funds or allocate some securities with a local small brokerage company without the big balance sheet, without the ratings, without international expertise. So they need trustworthy counterparty, which means mostly government.
Mhm.
So we creating this structure to help them to invest. So the regulation on the securities market remains with the national agency. So they will be covering all the bonds, all the securities, probably all the new types of securities. We hope that they will uh, update the legislation and add some collective investment schemes like REITs, funds, ETFs, probably Sharia compliant instruments like Sukuk. So yeah, regulations all keeps with the agency. Central bank still keeps the state debt securities because it's one of the instruments of their policies on controlling the liquidity in economy. That might be arguable point because it's still security, but not controlled by the regulator. But I guess it's not that important problem that we should start in. So yeah, first of all, let's concentrate on the fact that uh, bringing the clearing system and settlement system under the central bank allows both international to come and locals to do more operations. So I assume this is a very positive step.
So not many restrictions or hesitation from
Oh, we will see.
stakeholders.
We will see on the practice. We will see on the practice. Central bank is usually and is supposed to be
Mhm.
conservative, but definitely we as a market participants wants the central bank be not that conservative.
Yeah. A good point you raised about the Sharia compliance as well. A lot of European market and US as well is targeting Sharia compliant banking system as well. I know in USA, a lot of banks, especially virtual banks, are focusing on Sharia compliance as well. And I've seen like a lot of Central Asian markets getting more interested in Sharia compliance as well. Is there a specific reason for it, or the market for Islamic banking is becoming much more financially feasible or something?
Yeah, sure, sure. Definitely a lot of people cannot consider some normal banking loans because of their religious views, but they have good businesses, they have ability to develop it, they want to develop it, and they need financing, and they are struggling without proper instruments which may fund them. So yeah, development of the Sharia compliant instruments, which may bring a lot of new players on the market in terms of the companies, which will be borrowing funds, attracting funds, and not a surprise that these products are growing all over the world because the globalization helps, and there's a huge Muslim communities, I guess, in each country of the world.
Yeah. What is your view on the sandbox regime?
Oh, that's a very very good instrument because unfortunately, the for many years the legislation in a securities market and the capital market was very difficult. I guess Minister of Finance was telling us that there is more than 30 or 40 documents which regulate the market, and sometimes it's not provide a clear picture of the question. They sometimes there is some overloops on the same questions. For example, we have three indication of what is market price, which is very very difficult. So if at some point some very very difficult parts of this legislation, which obstacles from the development of the market, could be transferred to the sandbox and said, okay, main legislation said that we cannot do this, but we have the sandbox, and within this sandbox we can do this with this limitation. So it's, I guess, the perfect match for the development of this market because we have a lot of legislative work to do, a lot of documents to be changed, and it will take a huge amount of time to do this in a ordinary way. So the sandbox regime, I guess, it's a good answer for all these problems. So we'll put this. I hope the regulator will do this. The part this difficult parts of the legislation in a sandbox regime prove that proposed idea is working good, get some results, and then change the main legislation as well. At least this is how I see it should work. What the regulator will say, we should probably ask them.
Is there any specific targeted companies which are planning to go under sandbox, or has like the government plan like what kind of companies they want to regulate under the sandbox?
I don't have any insights on this. On my view, I guess the account opening procedure for foreign institutional investors should be one of such areas because now it's a very difficult process, both in terms of the amount of paperwork we need to do and the attention of the controlling and tax authorities on this. They want to be super safe in terms of the oldest compliance and anti-money laundering regimes, everything. On my view, now we should be more open for this, not that strict on opening the accounts, but definitely we should comply with the general anti-money laundering policies. So there is a couple of ideas on how we could solve it, and definitely this is what might be implemented within the sandbox regime.
I think this week there was a European and Uzbek investment forum or something which was organized, I think, a couple of days back. And over there, a good point was raised that maybe Uzbekistan should consult a Russian banking system because it is much more advanced, and they have been, upgrading as the progress proceeds. So it's like a guidebook which is already there. So, and because Uzbekistan has really good relations with Russia as well, so maybe that could be you can say like a fast streamlined process for Uzbekistan to implement the banking system. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, that was the first annual business forum for the Euros. We had the privilege to participate, and my partner was moderating one of the panel discussions there. It's a great event. On your question about using the like basis, let's say, of the
Yeah.
Russian banking system to improve ours. Uh, First of all, definitely we should learn and use all the available sources. So it's not just Russia. But in terms of Russia, I guess we should be super careful on how we should do this because of all the sanction regimes here, and there was a lot of problems as well. Definitely, like banking applications, fintechs projects was working very good in Russia, but we have good examples in Georgia as well, in Kazakhstan as well, in other countries. So yeah, let's probably try to take the best parts there, and but not stick with only one decision.
Yeah. Um Lastly, looking at one of the most important topic of the day, you can say, or of any financial sector, is the foreign investment. And I think the majority of the reason why a financial system is redefined is to accommodate and invite foreign investment. So, according to this decree, the changes which are coming in, how inviting it is for the foreign investment, and what are the, you can say, like restrictions that we are seeing, which can actually be positive or negative for foreign investment.
Yeah, definitely. I guess foreign institutional investors are most important group for now. Despite everyone concentrating on the local retail market, it is important, and in the end, you have to have the local, very sustainable local capital market. But on our experience, we see that any type of securities which is now actively traded, first few years ago it was started trading only with the foreigners. So as a start, foreign institutional investors are very important. So as I said, the foreign institutions have two problems. There are much more problems, but two main problems is how to enter the market. So first, it was the legislative problems and infrastructure problems, and we have the decision in this decree on establishing this international connection. And the second is account opening process. If we solve this two, I guess all others like low liquidity, high volatility, not that great reporting from the local participants is will be solid. So if there will be more investments, there will be more market participants will be more interested in investing and improving internal systems. Liquidity will grow on the market. So yeah, that's the main two things which will help to attract way more investments that we have now.
One question which was related to it comes to my mind is, for example, like IT Park. I remember like 1.5 year ago, sorry, 2.5 years ago, when I was in Uzbekistan, they were having big drastic changes in the IT sphere just to attract a lot of, you can say, investors or companies to come into Uzbekistan. And they had some sort of agreements with the government as well, how to implement the company structure and getting their company registered in Uzbekistan, and the whole process was streamlined. And with this degree, will it affect other institutes like IT Park as well?
Definitely. So the capital market, this like not like IT Park. We don't need some preferential visa regime. It's already preferential that many countries could do non-visa for visa coming. Uh, it will all the sectors will benefit from this because the capital market is the way on proper and official management of the available capital in a country, local, international. So the companies which are growing in IT park, they will be able to come to the market and sell the shares, raise some debt financing here. Currently, it's difficult for them because it will be costly. There will be not much good of the pricing. So it's possible, but difficult. As much investors will have and as easier they could come to the market, as better the options for the funding will be on local companies, both international and local. So it's no doubt any countries in Uzbekistan will benefit from development of the capital market.
Right. One more question. This is the last
Sure.
question. I'm sorry. Like from one question, another question comes in, another question comes in. So, lastly, the process that you mentioned for the foreign companies coming in, is there would there be like a limitation for foreign companies and the local companies separate? Because I've seen that in a lot of different countries that they have certain regulations that for foreign company to register themselves in the stock exchange, they need to have a local partner or something. Or some
Mhm.
countries they have like a minimum capital that their company needs to be having in terms of maybe capital invested, or maybe they paid up capital, or maybe that they need to lock in certain financial assets that they cannot take that much capital out of the country for a limited period of
Mhm.
time. Would there be some sort of implementations on such criterias?
Hopefully not. We currently we have only, well, let's say, one major limitation for foreign investors. We have our own list of uh, easier to call it offshore jurisdictions, and the companies or the persons who are registered in such jurisdiction, or UBOs of such companies registered in this jurisdiction, they cannot buy the local bank shares,
Mm-hmm.
which is a huge problem because unfortunately within this list, the most efficient jurisdictions are included like Cayman Islands, like Delaware, Hong Kong. So this is the jurisdiction when I don't know 80% of the all international hedge funds are registered. So we intentionally by our own means, for some reason, cut us Uzbekistan market from this huge amount of money. A lot of companies want to invest in local banks, but they cannot. Even it's a big multinational corporation, they have to establish some special vehicles in non-offshore jurisdiction to invest, and it means that they need some legal work, they need some additional compliance work, and it costs money. So they cannot invest in a small amount. They need to put some few $1 million. So it's difficult. So we are decreasing the number of investors which could and want to invest in Uzbekistan. Even the latest big M&A deal when the Hungarian OTP Bank bought the controlling stake in Ipoteka Bank, for this deal, because the OTP is a public company and they probably have some UBOs, like small minority shareholders, registered in such offshore jurisdiction, we're supposed to change the legislation. So there was the urgent change, which allowed, okay, if it's the investor is a big international bank, it might have some offshore investors. And if Uzbek bank goes abroad on a listing in some international platform, their investors could be from the offshore jurisdictions. So it's direct discrimination of the local market, not local people or local company, but the local market. So if you're offshore, you could buy in London or in New York, but you cannot buy in Tashkent. It means that the prices and liquidity on local market will be lower, and the local investors who own the shares, banking shares, and cannot sell it in London or New York or whatever, they will have the better prices. They will have a better, so the worse prices and worse liquidity. So they will lose money. So unfortunately, this limitations is there for many years, and I hope that it will be changed. At least the list will be cleaned from the
Mhm.
popular investment hedge funds jurisdictions. And another thing is the nominee holdings. It's on the way on the changes, but usually investors prefer to work not directly with the local brokers, but through their big broker, the
Mhm.
nominee broker. And it's easier because we could open one account for big international broker or bank, and it could have thousands, millions of clients, which will be consolidated under the one account. So we will be dealing with not with a million foreign retail investors and open account for each of them, but just with the one big account. And it's efficient for them, for us, easy, simple, fast. So hopefully this also will be implemented.
So this degree will probably be redefined in the future. Maybe if more input has been given according to that, right?
Yeah. So it's this decree at least opens the way to solve all these problems. Definitely, a huge legislative work is ahead to write all this documents, all this legislation, change the current ones, check how it works together. But at least we have the direction.
Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate your time. Have a nice
Yeah,
day.
thank you very much, Faizan. Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.
Bye bye.